Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has hidden unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure, or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
Zacchaeus. We all know the song, or at least you do if you grew up in church. You probably have acted it out, making the shortest kid in the class feel important by climbing up on a chair and being singled out for favor by Jesus. This story is only included in Luke's Gospel, and it occurs right after Jesus healed the blind man we talked about yesterday. Many other people were on the road headed for Jerusalem for Passover as well, so Jesus was only passing through Jericho. Let me read you the passage. It's in Luke 19, 1 through 10. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. There was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. And he was seeking to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not because he was small in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled. "He'd gone in to be a guest of a man who's a sinner." And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I've defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." This tells us a lot about Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector. He wasn't one who sat at a booth collecting from travelers like Matthew did. He oversaw a tax district and had other tax collectors under him. Since Jericho was the main route to Jerusalem, he got rich quickly. It also said he was seeking to see Jesus. Maybe he was just curious to see this traveling preacher who was said to do miracles. Or maybe he longed for something more, a change in his life like Matthew did. But because he was short, he knew he'd never be able to see over that crowd. So what did he do? Well, picture this rich, dignified man in an ornate flowing robe who was normally feared, if not respected, by everyone in town, running through the street ahead of Jesus' entourage and climbing a tree like a little boy, wanting to see better. It sounds like he was pretty determined, longing to see Jesus if he humbled himself to that point. Then when Jesus came along, he stopped and looked straight up at Zacchaeus. He singled out this despised, unloved sinner, set him apart for special favor. Talk about a turning point in his life. Jesus was coming over as a guest in Zacchaeus' house. Zacchaeus joyfully climbed out of the tree. And later he announced, "I'll give half my goods to the poor, and if I've defrauded anyone, I'll repay him fourfold." Depending on how much fraud he's been doing, I'm not sure that he had quite done the math on that one. But the point was that his declaration before the whole town was proof of his change of heart in that pivotal moment when Jesus called him down from that tree. Zacchaeus had gone out of his way to make himself available to Jesus, and Jesus had singled him out for favor. This caused grumbles of jealousy when others witnessed this. Why Zacchaeus? He wasn't nearly as worthy as they were, and Jesus chose him? But as Jesus told them, he'd come to seek and to save the lost, and that lost man wanted desperately to be found. Has God ever singled you out, shown you special favor, invited himself over? He comes to us individually, inviting us to be his, inviting us, lowly sinners, to be his children and part of his kingdom. But we have to, in that pivotal moment, be humble, available, and willing. Everything else in our lives has to take a back seat to what he wants to do. Are you humble, available, and willing for when Jesus shows up in your life?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to share a treasure God has given you by doing an episode, please contact us. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you'll find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.